Tyler, the Creator, just announced that his 8th studio album, Chromakopia, is going to be coming out on October 28th. This is massive news for the community considering that he broke his 2-year rule. And in this episode, we're going to be going through everything we know about this album, including the new date, including some of the new theories that have been surfacing online, and much more. So if you guys want to join us for our album reaction that we're going to be doing with our entire community, we're going to be bumping it as soon as it comes out on that October 28th date. All you guys got to do is visit the pinned comment, sub to the Patreon plan, and you guys are going to be able to join us that night. But Lou, let's get into this. It's Tyler season, baby. And this is crazy to me because he's had a strict release schedule, especially for his discography. So how do you feel today?
Yo, I think this is the album I've been the most excited for all year. And how could you not be fucking hyped for a new Tyler, the Creator album? He is literally one of the best living artists making music right now. And he always delivers with an album experience. So let's get into the main album information that we have on this album. First of all, this was a massive surprise because if you were following Tyler on social media this year, you could have seen that he was alluding to the fact that he was not going to be dropping an album this year. He was tweeting that there was going to be no new Tyler music in 2024. He was saying how he was annoyed that people kept asking him for a new album. And little do you know, he ends up coming out with the Saint Chroma snippet and then announces the album, which is absolutely massive. But let's go on to the album announcement. He's dropping on a Monday, October 28th, 2024. So let's start there. How do you feel about a Monday drop?
I think it's genius, right? Because back, when he was being interviewed by Nardwuar, he had said that he misses those Tuesday drops because it's a different album experience, right? He was saying how people take the albums on the weekends and they listen to them in different settings, right? Whether it's parties or social gatherings, and you can't really marinate with it, right? Whereas if with the Tuesday release date and that midweek drop, you kind of have time to live with it, right? You're going to listen to the album on your way to school. You're going to bump it on your way to work. There's a different, I would say, experience with the listening of that track list. And even looking at this album, maybe he wants people to really pay attention to what he's doing. I think that Tyler always comes out and gives you an avant-garde experience. He gives you something that's completely new, that's fresh, that's innovative, and it takes time to digest his music. So maybe he wants to give you a different listening experience so you could really sit in with it and you could really experience it for what it is. But how do you feel about this new date, right? Because it's different. It's not conventional for the streaming era. Do you think it's a smart move for the marketing? How do you feel about this new release date?
It's super cool, bro. It's nostalgic too, just because, there was a time, let's say over 10 years ago, where that was the norm, was to drop early weeks. So to see Tyler going back and doing what he wants and not really caring about how this is going to affect let's say sales or streams, whatever the case may be, for a billboard placement. It's cool that he's being very artistic in that decision. So I'm all for it, bro. And if this starts a new trend for other artists to start dropping early week, I wouldn't be mad at that either. But let's get started with this album cover. So, I mean, with every Tyler album, the world building is incredible. We know that he introduces us to a new character every time, and they always have their own distinct look. And that's what we get with this album cover. We have this character who has this mask on, which seems to be like molded in the actual, I would say, characteristics of Tyler's face. And then you have this crazy hairstyle that he's showing off. And you also have him wearing this military trench coat, which is very interesting. And this is the exact same look that you find in the Saint Chroma video, which we'll get into in a little bit. But how do you feel about the green branding for this album cover and sort of like the evil symbols that you get off of the C and the A? You get like these devil horns. What do you make of that?
I think it's going to be a darker album, especially around this fall time. Another fun fact is that this is the first time he's going to be releasing an album in the fall time or close towards the end of the year. He's usually always slated for spring and summer drops. It's a part of his brand. He's always made sort of sunny music, obviously with the exception, of
Cherry
Goblin and Goblin Bastard, obviously. But that's really been his schedule, and he's been tight with it. So I feel like this is a complete 180 from everything that he's always done. And that wants to, that kind of leads into like the approach of the album for me, right? Because are you going to get something that's darker? Are you going to get something that's a lot more menacing? And that's something that I want to see from him, right? Because going back to Call Me If You Get Lost, it felt breezy. It felt like you're on vacation with him. It was sunny. Going back to Igor, you had something that had more of like a pop aesthetic. It was very bright as well. Even Flower Boy. So I think it's a good change of direction for him. So how do you feel about that? Do you think the Bradley's going to play into the music like it always does? What does the cover tell you?
Yeah, I mean, the cover definitely tells me that, this character is probably going to be on the evil side, maybe a villain to some degree, maybe an old sadistic type of character like you would have gotten in the earlier Tyler days. I feel like you might get some reminiscent feelings of that controversial, edgy Tyler when it comes to maybe the bars he's delivering or the types of missions and adventures we see this character take on within the album. And it makes the wheels turn in your mind because you know how cinematic it's going to be when he's presenting you with this completely brand new aesthetic and character. So that's super exciting to me. But let's go on to the website that's actually live right now. And it's called Chromakopia.com. And once you end up on the landing page, you're going to end up seeing this green container, and there's a bunch of stuff written on the green container.
Yeah.
It says number 8 on the container, referencing how this is his 8th studio album, because some people consider he only has 7 studio albums, but technically the Mixtape Bastard is the first album by Tyler. That's how he views it, at least. You also have him showing off the 10/28 date. You have the golf branding on there. Then once you open the actual website up, you end up seeing that there's merch bundles already available. There's vinyls. So that's going to be a big part of the rollout for him. So cool to see. And you could also sign up for updates on that website. So it's just a cool way to keep the fans in the loop as the days progress, because we're, just about over a week away from this album releasing. So let me ask you that before we start talking about Saint Chroma. How do you feel about just the speed of this rollout and how there's been no bullshit?
He always kind of does this, though.
I love it, though.
But
Like, think
that's
about
his
how many
motto.
artists leave you waiting and hanging.
Yeah, but he does that, though. He does that, too. But he knows how to play into his own suspense,
No,
right?
no,
It's
no.
not a
When he is letting you know he's in album mode, there's usually like 1 week until like you're there. You get the announcement.
Yeah, well, even, let's say, for Call Me If You Get Lost, you got the billboards, and then boom, like a couple of weeks later, you were in the album experience. And I think that's such a unique factor that he brings to the table when it comes to these rollouts, is that, you're in this roller coaster, and you don't necessarily know what you're going to get before you get into that album experience. Everything's coming at you so quick. You're on the fly, and he gives you no choice but to pay attention to his rollout, especially with this, right? With Saint Chroma, I think it was a genius marketing move because people were questioning, right? Was this going to be something for maybe golf? Was it going to be something attached to a new brand that he was building? No one was expecting a new album. I think that there were theories out there, and people were saying, well, maybe the 8 on the YouTube video was alluding to the fact that it'd be an 8th studio album. If you ask me, I was completely fucking blind to this.
I expected a new album. I didn't think it would be this soon. I
But
thought maybe.
don't tell me this though. You didn't think that it would be coming out like, let's say, a week later after
No.
release.
No,
No way.
I didn't. But I definitely had a feeling that this was going to be leading up to a new album. That's for sure. I wasn't sure if it was going to be maybe earlier 2025. I didn't know about the timeline, but I was still super stoked to see that there was new visuals and music. So let's get into that. So Tyler drops Saint Chroma on YouTube, and we have confirmation that it is Daniel Caesar's vocals towards the end of the track. And it's only a snippet, right? So we only got to hear about a minute. So before we speak about some of the theories that people are coming up with and maybe some of the visuals, what do you think about the music, bro? Because this is the only taste as of this moment that we have of what this album could sound like.
It sounds like Tyler's going into like an ASMR mode for the first, let's say, portion of the song. I like that. I don't think it's a cadence that he's used before. Maybe in certain, let's say, portions and sections of previous songs, but I really like what he brought to the table there. I also like how menacing the production is, bro. It's fucking beautiful. And then you get those Daniel Caesar vocals at the end of the track. The tempo of the track completely changes towards the end of it, and I think it's just a great way to build suspense, right, for what's going to come. I think maybe you look at this song and it's like, is it the end of the track? Is it the beginning? But people are speculating that this is going to be the first track on the album.
Yes.
And it's going to be the intro. So
And-
how do you feel about that theory?
Yeah, so they're speculating that because when you go on Tyler's IG and you see the reel that he's put up for Saint Chroma, the caption is 1.Saint Chroma. And he's been known to do this in the past where he'll actually, like, within captions of certain snippets or music videos, he'll put the number of the corresponding track placement on the album. So this could very well be the intro, and it sounds grand. It sounds like it's opening us up to a new world. I love just the heavenly chords that you hear midway through the song. I love the beat switch that you get and how it goes from light to dark, the way that it does. Just incredible. And Yeah, bro. I mean, in terms of sound and aesthetic, there was definitely some synths and production-wise that reminded me of some Igor sounds. But then when you talk about like his performance itself and how brash and kind of out of control it was, it gives me more Goblin Tyler. And ultimately, I think that it seems like we're gonna get a very experimental Tyler the Creator album. It
Yeah.
seems like we're gonna get maybe refined, polished continuation of what he tried to accomplish on Cherry Bomb, where it's really out there, where it's maybe like his Yeezus, if you will. Like that might be what we're in for, just based on again the aesthetics, the visuals, how he blows up everybody that's walking into the container.
Yeah, it's very brash. It's very in your face, and I think that that's going to be a successful part of this rollout. There's like the hamster wheel is already spinning for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are already thinking about what is this going to sound like? What is he going to bring to the table? Let me ask you that though, writing wise, like any guesses though, because you go back to previous Tyler albums, there's always storylines, there's always narratives, there's always like little crevices and little things that you have to follow within narratives of songs. So do you think that it's going to be a love triangle again? Because you saw with Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost, that was the main motive of those storylines. So do you think it's going to be that? Do you think it's going to be something completely different?
I mean, yeah, that's the big question, right? What's the narrative of the album going to be? What's the storyline going to be? I mean, I'm sure that we're going to get like another new Tyler alter ego like we've gotten in the past with like a Dr. TC, with a Wolf, Haley, with, Tyler Baudelaire. Like we're gonna get another one of those alter
Another
egos.
Igor, yeah.
And I think, like I was saying earlier, I think this is gonna be another villainous type of alter ego, and I think that this character is gonna be on some sort of path to destruction. And I think he's going to be very sadistic. He's going to want to inflict pain on people. So I do believe, like you said, because Tyler has been on the lighter side with his albums sonically,
Even
with the last few,
messaging-wise
even
and-
messaging-wise, for the most part, him focusing on these love triangles, this is going to be a complete 180 from all of that. And we're going to get something that is way more sinister, which is fucking exciting because it's going to feel so fresh.
Absolutely.
Hearing that from Tyler in 2024. But let's get on to a theory from this video. So there's a theory that people were maybe able to point out based on the heights and the physical description of some of the men that were walking into that
I think
container,
this is the biggest
who
Halo
they are.
reach, bro.
This is a huge reach, but it was getting some steam on Reddit, so I wanted to bring it in. People were claiming that Tyler used these masked men to actually be who the features are on the album, make them look like the people that might be featured on this album. So you have, again, according to the theory, Frank Ocean, Pharrell, Jaden Smith, Kendrick Lamar, Amine, Brent Faiyaz, Steve Lacy, and 21 Savage. And if you do look at some of the hairstyles, like you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is not totally bonkers.
Well, where's Daniel Caesar?
Yeah, you'd have to look
Where's,
closer at
where's
the picture.
Daniel? No, but where's Daniel Caesar in this theory? You know, that's the only problem. I think. Listen, it could it's alluding to something, and
Yeah.
I know it's gained a lot of steam online, but I don't think it's gonna happen. And even at that, I'm not sure, right? And like, there's some obvious ones here, like a Brent Faiyaz. They've collaborated together. Steve Lacy, obviously. Kendrick's a big feature that everyone wants to see, and Tyler was at the Pop Out show. So
And Frank Ocean is also someone that everyone wants to see reunite with Tyler for this album. And what's very interesting, something that we didn't mention earlier, is the fact that Tyler is dropping this album coincidentally on Frank Ocean's birthday. So, I mean, again, it doesn't mean anything, but as fans, we're going to be hopeful and hope that
yeah,
Frank...
the speculation's obviously going to blow up and it's going to play into it, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the theory, but I think it definitely alludes to
Hopefully
something.
Frank's on the album, though.
Yeah.
Again, the birthday thing is a bit convincing to me, so we'll have to see. But yeah, speaking of possible features, who do you think will be on the album, and who are the dream features for you?
The dream features, I just put out the tweet. I have 3 of them. Frank Ocean is the obvious one. I really want to see it happen, and it would be an absolute pleasure to be able to see that in 2024. Baby Keem. I feel like if you get something really brash and something really dark, like he fits really well on those types of productions. So getting him in the mix, that could be really cool. Also, Thundercat. I would love to see some Thundercat on this album, whether it's for maybe a vocal performance or even like that bass line, whatever the case may be. But how about you? 3 features.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar is definitely in that short list. I mean, we've been wanting a collaboration from them for so long. We know that they're tight. We know that they obviously respect each other's crafts. So that's just a big mystery of like, what would that sound like? How amazing would that track be? So that's high up there for me. Another one that I really wanted to see and that I've said time and time again, JPEG Mafia and Tyler. Like Tyler is not afraid to work with artists that are maybe not always the biggest of the biggest. And JPEG Mafia has only grown as an artist and is one of the leaders of hip hop's underground scene. And we've seen Tyler work with people like West Side Gun, and I could see him showing love to JPEG Mafia, who could definitely fit into this world where it's going to be darker, where you're going to get aggressive cadences. So JPEG, Kendrick, and another one that I would really want to see is Sampha. Like Sampha's kind of like the name that comes up on every hip hop album, just because he's one of the best vocalists in the world, in my opinion. So those are the guys that really I'd love to see. In terms of who I think we will see on the album, Frank Ocean I think is going to be a lock here. Daniel Caesar is already confirmed to be featured on the album. Steve Lacy, even if it's from a production standpoint, whatever the case may be, I think he'll be part of the album, and that's kind of all I could really think of for the time being.
By the way, Schoolboy Q spoke about the album on Twitter. We just got the live update as well. He says that it's really, really good.
He said the album's really good.
He says it's really,
I trust
really good,
it, bro.
And he said October 28th. He also said this little side note. He had also said, and this was on IG, all my friends dropping music and it makes me happy. 2 more to go.
2 more friends to go.
2 more friends to go.
I think he listen. I think
yeah. Whatever.
Maybe Absol, maybe Kendrick Lamar.
whatever it is. I'm just happy because it seems like the industry is live and it's a well. But listen, guys, let's actually talk about the website. That's something that I wanted to touch on.
I already touched upon all of that.
No,
yeah.
but I wanted to also talk about like maybe some of the things that you could see in there. So going into the website, looking at the branding and everything else that's going into it, do you think that you're going to see anything else, let's say, come out of that website, let's say with previous rollouts? Do you think that you're going to see anything else come out like visually from there?
Listen, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, there's the newsletter you could sign up for, so you can get all of those updates.
No, but I mean like more of like a PG Lang style of like rollout, where like you have updates coming out of it, like let's say from like a rollout standpoint, where maybe you get like a new music video, maybe you get like a new piece of merchandise. Like, do you think that the rollout's going to continue there? Do you think he takes it more on social media?
I mean, yeah, I think he's been debuting all the stuff on social media and YouTube, so I feel like music-wise, that's where he's gonna really launch everything. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe little nuggets and little Easter eggs that are exclusive to the website, so that would be really dope. So we'll see what comes out of there. But Camp Floganaw is something else to talk about, because that is happening within a month's time. November 16 and 17 are the dates for Camp Floganaw, and that's going to be exciting because there's no lineup known at this moment. So you better believe that's going to be a massive fucking moment. I think it's the closest we've ever gotten an album in connection to an actual Flognaw festival. So imagine how insane that's going to be for Tyler to probably perform the album for the first time at that festival, his own festival. This era and this phase of Tyler could really be historic, bro, and I'm so excited.
I think there's going to be some serious headliners there at Camp Flognaw. I think it's going to be absolutely stupid. So expectations, bro.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Listen, I think we're getting an album of the year contender. I think this will be the best album to come out in 2024.
You think so?
I'm really going to push that. And I think that it's going to be a polarizing album for a lot of Tyler fans, just because not all Tyler fans have been exposed to, let's say, his earlier work or even enjoy his earlier work. And I feel like you might get some remnants of that. So I think it's going to be divisive at first, but I think that it's going to be super dark. It's going to feel fresh. I think the production is going to be A1. And like I said, album of the year. That's my prediction.
Yeah, you think so?
I think so.
I think it's gonna be a top 5 contender for sure. But I could see this going down as an album of the year. I think looking back at 2021, I gave "Call Me If You Get Lost" that title. He's usually someone that comes out with a fresh and new experience. I've loved everything about the branding and the marketing, everything from the website to these new bundles, bro. The visuals, the way that he's done everything. I think there's going to be a lot of shit happening. I think that you're going to see him go full-fledged with this marketing rollout, and that it's going to be absolutely fucking stupid. And the features are a big mystery for me. But guys, let me know in the comment section, what are your thoughts? Expectations, features you'd want to see, and listen, do you guys think that this is going to be an album of the year contender? I think that question's pretty obvious, but like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, live album reaction to Tyler's new album going down on October 28th. If you guys want to join us, visit the pinned comment. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.